Hi, this is Suresh Ramani here. Today, we will deep dive into Microsoft 365 Business Premium, a comprehensive platform for collaboration and security for businesses with less than 300 users. So let's dive in. A quick look at the Microsoft offerings for businesses with less than 300 users. Business Basic, which is a web-based offering for email, personal and team documents, and Teams meeting, calling, chatting. This is extremely popular offering, and it also includes web-based edition of MS Office. Next is Business Standard. This has everything available in Business Basic. Plus, it includes desktop edition of MS Office, which can be used in up to 5 devices of one user. Next is Business Premium. This is business standard plus comprehensive security covering identity, access, information protection, threat protection, device management, compliance, audit, and report. Yeah, this chart gives you a nice breakup of different components of the three suites that we have discussed. So first is basic, standard, and premium. So in the premium, as you see, there are a lot of security offerings which are bundled. Recently, Microsoft added Defender for Business in the Business Premium, making it much more powerful and useful, as can be seen from the last column, which depicts Defender for Business. More of this later. The beauty of Business Premium is that it is a collaboration plus security, whether it is collaboration or security, it works on all platforms and devices, be it Windows PC, Apple laptops, Androids, mobiles, iPhones, or even cloud PCs like Windows 365 and Azure virtual desktops. So it just about gives you complete end-to-end productivity and security. This is an interesting slide which shows that to get equivalent functionality of Business Premium in collaboration and security, one has to invest in 9 different solutions. Not only does that add complexity of managing the different platforms, it also increases the cost substantially. So with Business Premium offering such great value, especially from the security point of view, the question that comes to the mind is whether Microsoft technologies are a good bet for security, as traditionally Microsoft has not been in security business. The answer is provided by Gartner study, which considers Microsoft a leader in 5 magic quadrants. Incidentally, Gartner Magic Quadrants are widely referred to by customers all over the world. So why should a company invest in Business Premium for security? The answer lies in sophistication of cyber attacks. It, it is no longer sufficient to protect your devices with an antivirus. Business Premium offers multi-layered security covering identity, moving on to device security, then to application level security, and then to document security. Essentially, it covers all the areas from where an attack can happen. While Business Premium covers productivity and security, the remaining part of the video, we will focus on security. We do have other videos that focus on the productivity, So let's first dive into now the security offered by Business Premium. The core areas that we need protection from are identity, information, devices. The premium workloads included in Microsoft 365 Business Premium are Azure AD Premium Plan 1. Users of Microsoft 365 Basic and Standard already have Azure AD Basic, but the premium plan includes extra protection of identity. We will see how over the next few minutes. In the hybrid way of work, the firewall of the company has limited use. The identity is a perfect firewall. Next is Azure Information Protection. As the name suggests, this helps in protecting information or data. Next is Intune, which is a part of Endpoint Manager. The Endpoint Manager helps in device management and protection. Next, Microsoft Defender for Office 365 Plan 1. This helps in protecting threats in email and documents. Previously, it was called as ATP Plan 1. Some of you are already using that plan. Next is Microsoft Defender for Business. This is the latest workload to be added to Microsoft 365 Business Premium. It is ultra modern XDR, Extended Detection and Response System, much more advanced than many standard antiviruses found in the market. Next, let's talk of enhanced Office apps. Some of the customers use terminal services in which MS Office cannot be installed on the user PC, but needs to be installed on a shared server. In this case, Office shared activation is required. Regular apps for Office does not support shared activation, but Office apps bundled in Business Premium supports Office shared activation. Next is enhanced Exchange Online. Users of Business Basic and Standard get 50 GB main mailbox and 50 GB archive mailbox. In Business Premium, you get unlimited archive. In addition, you also get advanced functionality like legal hold and e-discovery, which is immensely useful in compliance. Next, enhanced SharePoint Online. Here again, you get legal hold and e-discovery of documents, which is not available in Business Basic and Business Standard. Next, e-discovery and audits. The needs for compliance is increasing. So Business Premium comes bundled with the right set of tools which help in e-discovery and audits. Next is enhanced Windows 10 for Business, which is essentially a free upgrade to Windows 10 Pro, from there to Windows 10 Business. Many security features are bundled in this, besides, of course, the free upgrade. So from security point of view, Business Premium should not be looked as a product. Rather, it is a platform which we can use to enable solutions in these 6 areas, each of which is so very important. Let us see what we can do to better protect the identity. Number 1, multi-factor authentication, which includes Hello for Business. It also includes password authentication. You can use a device specific PIN or a Microsoft Authenticator or a simple OTP. Introduced by Microsoft in Windows 10, Windows Hello uses biometric sensors or a PIN to verify a user's identity. The Microsoft Authenticator app is a software token that allows users to verify their identity with a built-in biometric or a PIN when signing into their work or personal accounts from a mobile phone. It also works as a decent password manager. Next, conditional access. If then statements, essentially. It includes users, groups, locations, networks, devices, applications. Actions would include block access, require compliant devices, multi-factor authentication, force password change. So if this, then this. Essentially, that's what conditional access is all about. So using conditional access, companies can ensure that no users or apps or devices can access Microsoft 365 data unless they meet your company's compliance requirements, which could be performing multi-factor authentication, enrolling with Intune, using managed apps, using supported operating system, a device pin, a low user risk, etc. Next, Defender for Cloud App for app discovery. This can help in detecting shadow IT applications and possible risky applications. Next is App Proxy for on-premise access to web apps. Azure Active Directory's application proxy provides secure remote access to on-premise web applications. After a single sign-on to Azure AD, users can access both cloud and on-premise applications through an external URL or an internal application portal. Next is single sign-on to other cloud apps or SaaS applications. Enabling SSO or single sign-on with Azure AD Directory means users can sign in once to access their Microsoft apps and other cloud and on-premise apps with the same credential. Next is self-service password reset, SSPR, is an Azure Active Directory feature that enables user to reset their passwords without contacting IT staff for help. So you can do more with less. Next is dynamic groups. These are the groups that can be created from existing security or Microsoft groups. Now let's get into information protection. First, we'll explore email-based data loss prevention. Email is the most preferred way of corporate communication. Not surprisingly, it is also the most preferred way of leakage of corporate information. So let's see how we can prevent the same. Number one, restrict certain users to send emails only to company users. So if you have users whose job does not require them to interact with people outside the company, we can ensure that they cannot send emails to any non-company users. Next is auto forward messages to sender's manager for approval. In some cases, the manager may suspect a team member of information leakage, or it may be that the person is serving his notice period and therefore needs to be carefully watched. In such cases, one can set up a rule by which all mails being sent by the person silently goes to the manager who approves it, and then it goes out of the tenant. Next is block messages with executable attachments. One way in which malware spreads inside the company is when some executables or dangerous attachments are sent in email. When they land in user inbox, the user clicks on the attachment, triggering absolute mayhem. To prevent this, one can set up a filter so that such attachments are blocked before they hit the user mailbox. Next is set up spam confidence levels for incoming emails. Incoming messages are assigned a spam score based on which a message is delivered as clean or as spam or as a less important message. Next is supervisor mailbox. All messages can be copied to this account or just those sent internally or externally. This feature is very useful in preventing data leakages via email. Next is prevent download of attachment in browser, view only. The administrator of Exchange Online can configure additional rules for users by which when the user opens his browser to access email, he'll see email messages. But if the user tries to download the attachment, the system will give a message, you do not have permission to download. Next, block browser access for emails. Access will only be on Outlook app, desktop app. Useful in certain high compliance companies which do not want corporate emails to be accessed outside of office premises. So here one can block browser access by which users can get email only on corporate PC on Outlook desktop app. Next is monitor email forwarding. One way that the data is lost is when a user puts a forwarding rule in the mailbox by which his mails get forwarded to his personal account or some other account. When this setting is put, even admin cannot see which user is forwarding his emails. Fortunately, if you are using Office 365, then the admin can run some commands by which he will get a display of the users and also whether any user is forwarding his emails. Sensitivity labels. Various labels can be applied to emails by which users will be prevented from printing or forwarding emails, or only company users can read such emails. Let's look at document DLP. Most of the company secrets are in documents, so it's important to protect data loss via documents. The documents are stored in Teams or SharePoint or OneDrive. Let's see how we can minimize the data loss. First is restrict users from deleting or uploading or creating or downloading files. A set of controls can be put on certain documents or on certain users for this. Next is different permissions can be assigned. A single document library can have multiple permissions for different users. This can be effectively used. Next is share files internally or externally with specific permissions. Self-explanatory? Yep. Next is hide specific file or folder from any user. A particular file or folder can be given unique permissions, user-wise or a group-wise. Next is declare record. So let's take an example of a contract or a proposal. After 4 weeks, a document could get auto-converted into a record. And once it becomes a record, no one can edit or delete the same. Next is allow or block domain level sharing. One can put domains in allow or block list, thereby making it super difficult to leak information. Restrict access from different locations beside office. In certain regulated industries, one can specify locations from where document access is possible. Rest of the locations are blocked. Next is alert policy. For modified, delete, and download, we can set up alerts for a group of documents such that whenever they are modified or downloaded, an alert goes to the author. Next is file tracking and revocation. Permissions that are granted to a document travel with the document. What this means is that even when document is not in company tenant, the author can withdraw permissions to the same. Next is file classification and labeling. We can apply labels to documents to protect them. These labels can be applied at the document level or at the team folder level also. Next to emails, devices are the most common way by which data loss takes place. So it is super important to ensure that devices are safeguarded. Devices are of multiple categories. The first category is clearly devices owned by the company but assigned to users. Since the devices are company owned, the company retains its right to manage the full device. A policy can be applied by which only company owned devices are allowed to access data. Another policy can be to wipe all data if an employee leaves the company or if the device is lost. Also, since it is a company device, one can block the USB storage devices from accessing. Note that USB keyboard and mouse will be able to connect. Only USB devices drives will be blocked. Another important policy that can be put is for traveling executives where the use of public Wi-Fi is allowed only for corporate devices. The logic is that if someone were to use the you know, common device over public Wi-Fi, chances are that the files could be downloaded on that public PC, leading to information leakage. We are living in a world where many users are accessing corporate information on their personal devices. In such situations, one should be focusing on securing the corporate applications and not bother about securing the devices as they belong to the user. A policy can be put by which corporate data is accessible only by managed apps. For example, email can be accessed only by Outlook mobile app, which is a managed app. Also, when we apply labels to a document, even if the document is copied to a USB device, it will not be available. Another setting is where corporate documents cannot be synced to personal cloud storage like Google Drive or a Dropbox. It's not just the laptops that need to be protected. Data loss via mobiles is a bigger threat because mobiles are more often than not personal. A policy can be applied by which data can be copied only between corporate apps. So if a user copies data from Outlook mobile and pastes on Word mobile, it will be allowed. But if this data were to be pasted on, let's say, WhatsApp, it will be blocked. If one tries to print corporate data, it will be blocked. If one tries to set up Exchange with Gmail client, it will be blocked. Only Outlook mobile app will be allowed. So if a user is prevented from doing copy paste of data from Outlook to WhatsApp or Notepad, he may take a screenshot. The bad news is that screenshots can be blocked for corporate apps. And if the user leaves the company, we can selectively delete corporate data and leave the personal data untouched. Also, when the person downloads corporate files, they will get downloaded only on OneDrive or SharePoint, which are protected in any case. Having seen identity protection and information protection, let's move to the third category, which is threat protection. First, let's explore how we can protect emails and documents from dangerous threats. The workload is Defender for Office 365 Plan 1. Using this service, we can enable the following. Safe links. Safe links provide URL scanning of inbound email messages and provides time of click verification of URLs and links in email messages and other locations. Safe link scanning occurs in addition to the regular anti-spam and anti-malware in inbound email messages in Exchange Online Protection. Next is safe attachments. Safe attachments in Microsoft Defender for Office 365 provide an additional layer of protection for email attachments that have already been scanned by anti-malware protection in Exchange Online Protection. Specifically, safe attachments use a virtual environment to check attachments' email messages before they are delivered to recipients. It's the process known as detonation. Next is safe attachments for SharePoint OneDrive teams. Safe attachments helps detect and block existing files that are identified as malicious in team sites and document libraries. Anti-phishing protection from spoofing and impersonation. Spoofing is when the from address in the email message, which is the sender's address that's shown in the email client, does not match with the domain of the email source. Impersonation is where the sender or the sender's email domain in the message looks similar to a real sender or a domain. Next is real-time detection against zero-day threats. Even unknown threats are blocked using this service. And when we combine this functionality with security managed services, which are done daily or weekly or monthly, or I would say daily and weekly and monthly, what the customer gets is a robust threat protection service against emails and documents-based threats. Besides emails and documents, another mode of entry of threats is via devices. To protect the devices, we use the workload of Defender for Business. We have a dedicated video on Defender for Business. I would urge you to look at that video. So here we'll just do a quick overview. Number one, a centralized management where you can see all the devices that are in use. A next generation protection of antivirus and anti-malware on devices together with cloud protection. Next is attack surface reduction, where you take care of network protection, firewall, and attack surface reduction rules. So you reduce the chances of an attack here. Next is web category blocking. This works like an effective firewall, but it's more effective because unlike a traditional firewall that protects the company perimeter but cannot protect devices outside the company walls, this solution creates a firewall around each user device and works within or outside the company premises. Automated investigation and response with self-healing for detected threats. So this works even when you are not working or sleeping, for example. Next is Microsoft Defender Vulnerability Management. Here you can view the exposed devices and recommendations. Next is cross-platform enrollment for devices like Windows, Mac, iOS, Android. You can onboard Windows 10, 11, Mac servers, Linux or Windows servers, mobiles, Androids, iOS, pretty much cross-platform. And when we combine this functionality with security managed services, which are done daily and weekly and monthly, what customer gets is a robust threat protection service for devices. Device lifecycle management. With this managed services, we can offer a complete visibility to customers on the devices that are accessing corporate information. Not only that, but we can also take responsibility for the complete lifecycle management, device lifecycle management. Our service is used to manage your organization's endpoints, which include mobile devices, desktop computers, virtual machines, embedded devices, and servers that your organization uses. Provision, secure, and retire devices. This could be new corporate devices or allocation of a device of an ex-employee to another employee. Number two, get hardware and software inventory. Very few customers have a clear idea of how many devices they own that are used by the employees. The usual process is to do a physical count, which can take days and weeks and is highly inaccurate. With our service, you can get you an up-to-date information on corporate and BYOD devices that are accessing the corporate information. Not only that, we can also get visibility into apps being used in various devices. Number three, secure access. Our service gives you means to access your information from any device in a very secure fashion. Number four, information and threat protection. Multiple services that we provide for devices will help you in information and threat protection. Number five, monitor security posture. Digital security is becoming a top priority for organizations large and small as they continue the journey of accelerated digital information or transformation. However, one major source which was faced by organizations was how to understand the level of security they have. We are pleased to introduce you to a new service called Secure Score. This is a measurement of the security posture of the organization. Number six is advanced analytics. Using this, we will on proactive basis monitor and act on the following analytics. Technologies experience score. This gives how the device is configured, proactively maintain device performance and health, and so many more. Yeah, this slide gives you the summary of the device lifecycle management services, which will ensure that devices accessing your corporate information are in top shape and compliant with various policies. Governance and compliance is an important part of any technology solution. There are a host of features available and functionality available in Business Premium, which aids in this effort. Number one is retention policies for various workloads of Microsoft 365, which generate their own data, be it emails, documents, chats. There has to be a process of managing this data. Some of it needs to be retained for maybe just 6 months. Other stuff is probably required for, let's say, 2 years. The important data you'll probably require for at least 10 years. We can have retention policies which, when applied, will automatically ensure that the data is retained for a defined period, after which it gets auto-deleted. Next is team and site sharing. There needs to be a governance plan in place for team and site sharing both internally and externally, else it can lead to total chaos. Next is domain allow and block. It's possible that the domains allowed or blocked by Exchange Online Protection EOP or Defender for Office 365 service, they may not be the ones that you want to allow or block. In that case, the tenant allow block list in the Microsoft 365 Defender portal gives you a way to manually override the Defender for Office or Exchange Online Protection settings. Number four is restricted site and file sharing and guest access. There are many controls that enable you to govern how people access resources in groups, teams, SharePoint. These include membership, conditional access, guest access, user management. Number five is group naming policies. You can enforce a consistent naming strategy for groups created by users in your company. This can be based on group, membership, region, or creator of the group. It gets applied to groups in Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, Planner, Yammer. It gets applied only to Microsoft 365 groups and not to distribution lists in emails. Next is email archiving, legal hold, e-discovery for emails and documents. Exchange Online Archiving offers two types of policies, archive and delete. Both can be applied to the same item or a folder. For example, a user can tag an email message so that it automatically moves to a personal archive in specified number of days and gets deleted after another span of days. Legal hold is becoming important as companies are expected to preserve email and document records for certain number of years and produce them when required. When you apply legal hold, you decide what to hold and how long to hold. E-discovery can help you do discovery search across mailboxes for content or across SharePoint libraries. In-place e-discovery is a powerful feature that allows a user to correct with correct permissions to potentially gain access to all messaging records stored throughout the Exchange Online Protection organization. The audit and reporting is an important aspect of any solution. Microsoft 365 Reports dashboard shows you the activity overview across products in your company. It enables you to drill into individual product level reports to give you more granular insights about the activities within each product. Using these reports will allow you to make changes, steer user behavior, and maximize benefits. There are certain scores that we can enable which will help you to get a score to tell you how you're doing. First is adoption score. Your organization score reflects people and technology experience measurements and can be compared to the benchmarks from organizations similar in size to yours. The compliance score displays your overall compliance score. It helps you to understand your current compliance posture. It can also help you prioritize actions based on their potential to reduce risk. Next is Microsoft Secure Score, which is a measurement of organization's security posture with a higher number indicating more recommended actions which are taken. Following the Secure Score recommendations can protect your organization from threats. From a centralized dashboard in Microsoft 365 Defender portal, companies can monitor and work on the security of their Microsoft 365 identities, apps, and devices. Identity score tells you how secure is your Azure AD tenant. Exposure score reflects how vulnerable your organization is to cybersecurity threats. Lower exposure score means your devices are less vulnerable to exploitation. To summarize, using Business Premium, you can get a comprehensive security, compliance, and governance solutions covering identity and access, information protection, threat protection, endpoint lifecycle management, governance, audit, and report. It's fantastic value for money. No two questions about that. But remember, it's a platform. It's only as good as how it is utilized. Utilize it properly, and you have a bulletproof solution with super value for money. Utilize it poorly, and you'll feel shortchanged. I will leave you with this thought for now. Thank you for listening to me and have a wonderful day ahead.